Right guys, we've all been there, or we should have been there, is you go to a dojo, it's Koryu dojo, and there's always one guy, like this, with his knot tied perfectly, his Sageo cord done amazingly, and he's like, knows a bit of everything, and he walks around a bit like an emperor, and he's like, I don't think you're doing that right, your knot is wrong. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, let Kenneth Williams tell you about it.
Ah, matron, what can I do for you? I beg your pardon? Oh, yes, I suppose that would appear to be the only solution.
Right, before I carry on, I just want to say a big thank you to Nick, the mighty Shogunate, and his Discord group, and the admin Scott there. So they've helped me with this. And basically some lads on there are doing really well, and they're doing a lot of history stuff. And basically, if you want to join us having a chat on Discord, just go to the Shogunate's channel, click about, and then basically you'll see the word Discord. You click it and we're all chatting on there. So big thanks to those guys. Right, okay, Sageo cord. I was in Tokyo one day, Ueno-koen, which is the park, and there were some banners out on the side, and it said sort of like Great Samurai of Japan, and it was early photographs of some samurai, and they were big banners, and they were celebrating the lives of them. So I'm wandering down the thingy, and you know what I noticed? Their knots of their hakama and their Sageo cords were totally not like you find in Kenjutsu schools today and Koryu schools today. And it just dawned on me, I was like, how did samurai actually wear their Sageo cords? And what was the protocol of it? So, before we go into that, we have to discuss uniformity and non-uniformity. Chopsticks. Break the chopsticks. Don't ever do that in Japan. Right, chopsticks. If I went to one end of Japan and I picked up a pair of chopsticks and I ate, if you go to the other end of Japan, no one is eating chopsticks like this. As far as I'm going to gamble my life on this one. Nobody is going, that's how you eat chopsticks. Or they sharpen the ends and it's like, that's how we have chopsticks. I'm going to say, at the left side of Japan, that's how you use chopsticks. At the right side of Japan, that's how they use chopsticks. Uniformity. There is a base level of uniformity. Most samurai wear kimono. Most samurai, when they need to, not all the time, will wear hakama. Usually it's a ritual thing, a high-ranking thing. I'm going to say most samurai kept their swords on the left. Maybe some kept it on the right, I don't know. Somebody can debate that. So what I'm trying to say is there is a level of uniformity within Japan. When you see someone with a katana in their obi sash, whether they've got hakama on or not, they're more than likely going to have a Sageo cord on it. Okay, there. But then, do my fast forward thing, you get to 2020, we go to a Kenjutsu dojo, and everyone's got their Sageo cord exactly the same. They're not so perfect. You get absolutely told off if it's not done this way because it's the way of the samurai. And then if you ever, now I'm going to call this the storage knot because there's multiple names for it, but basically the knot that's around a sword when you put it away. And I've seen one of my close friends tell someone off because they put a sword in their obi with the storage knot on it like that and said, no, you never do that, that samurai don't do that. Turns out, yes they do. So what I want in this video is to discuss the history of the Sageo cord, and not to give you answers but ask you questions and show you some pictures of the problems I've come across. Okay, it's generally accepted in history that the tachi came first and the uchi-katana stroke katana came second. So let's go. If you don't have a copy of this, please do get a copy of the Book of Samurai, Samurai Arms, Armour and the Tactics of Warfare. This was written in 1670, and let's have a look at the cord. So we'll go to the cord. Number 21 is actually, 21 is Obi Himo. Yep. Then you get Himo Tsuke, the mount connecting cord. Then you get Obitori, scabbard mount cords, and all the sections of the cord for a katana, for a tachi. There are different names, even down to the Mon versions of them and everything there. So that's in that book. So we know that logic dictates that if the tachi comes first, then the obi himo, the cords for the obi, are with it. So what date Did the katana come to its own self? What do you reckon, guys? As a separate entity? When is the first time we hear of the Sageo cord, not the Obihimo? When do we get that? Not sure. And then how is it we've got to today, 2020, where everybody's got this uniform version of wearing it, which the samurai didn't seem to do. So what I'm going to do now is show you some of the photographs I've come across. These are not the original photographs I've seen. I've tried to find them on my computer. I can't find them, but I made sure they were samurai at the time, because you do have to be careful. Basically, in photographs of Japan, you have to sort of date them before 1868 and then after 1868 as a basic guide, because you're not going to get people really dressing up as samurai before that so much, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if they ever did or didn't, but a lot of the photographs I'm going to show you are official delegations to France, official delegations to the USA, ambassadors. So these are the poshest people on the poshest holiday, sitting down for photographs, which is an absolutely new invention to them, and they have to look smart. This is how smart the samurai actually were. So, okay, so these pictures. Have a look on the left there. It goes straight across his knot. Something I'm seeing a lot of the time. Storage knot already in. Sat down with a katana there. Again, you look at the big bow at the front of that. Not a normal knot. Again, you can see messy, wrapped around. Nothing really, you know, ritualistic. That one's quite neat, but look at his bow on the left. It's not the cross knot, it's just a simple one with a wraparound. Again, wrap around to an outer cord there and wrapped on totally different. Total bundle of snakes wedding there, not like the one above it, which I think seems different. Again, different ones for different people. Sageo on the right, Sageo on the second right, totally different. Again, different, two totally different ones there, straight out, and they're the same people on the same sort of thing. These are all taken from people who are proper samurai. This seems to keep cropping up. This one always crops up. A proper cord, not a Sageo, but a cord across. Again, Sageo in different formats there in the same group, different colours. Guy couldn't even be bothered doing it. It's just a ragtag old stuff, and this is an official photograph. Couldn't be bothered. Cord comes up again, which always seems to come up, so I'm thinking about getting one of them. This is a beautiful double knot there, which is quite nice and very like traditional standard. Again, we start, this is like a, sorry, it's the folds, the middle of the stuff, but you start to see a lot of different type. Again, doesn't even have to be off, so these people get told off for that all the time, but there it is, straight as a die, out of history. So there you go, guys. Basically, the cross knot is not so popular. In fact, we often get like a bit more of just a bulbous cloth knot. If it is going to be the traditional hakama knot, it tends to be single knot, like that. In the past, I have had Yoshie and Miyako check this, and they say the cross knot could possibly be Meiji or enhanced in the Meiji period. And I personally think everything most Koryu people do in modern dojos, the style of Reiho, the style of tying the hakama, the style of attaching the Sageo cord and everything, I think most likely comes from late 19th century, early 20th century, up until the nationalism movement and the conformity movement of the Japanese 1930s, after a liberal 1920s. Do you know what I mean? I think it's in there. Everything from sankake taberu, which is a type of eating, to sort of like seiza being extremely important instead of agora, and all of this gets reshuffled and ironed out and uniformed and everything, so that people in Japan are identical. If you actually go back to the Sengoku period, people want individuality, and then of course in the Edo period you start to get that individuality knocked out of them, and uniformity and Neo-Confucianist values replacing it. So sorry if I'm losing you. Basically, some things are uniform and some things are not. And it seems that Sageo cords are probably not made out of the same braided material that we're used to. Some of them are genuinely round 3-ply cords. They are not tied in any specific way. They seem to be wrapped half the time, or just not. Even if they are just wrapped or not wrapped up brilliantly, that's fine. Even in the high-ranking pictures, you seem to be able to tie it inside a single group in any way you want. You can change colours in any way you want. You can do all sorts of things. And it only seems to be that after the samurai have finished, then this idea of Koryu uniformity of Sageo cords comes in. So by us all getting sort of like doing the same knot and not using the storage knot in our obi and everything, trying to be samurai. We're probably far away from the samurai as we should be. I personally love uniformity. I think it's much better. And I do know the document Heika Jodan, which is from the Book of Samurai series, says that people within a certain group should all have the same Sageo cord because it helps you identify them in a rush and at night or in the dark or in a violence or something. You just a quick look at Sageo cords, and if they're all of the same pattern, it's your team. But that was just one school. That's Natoryu. That's not, you know, the world across. That might have just been one of their teachings. So there we go. Right, guys. So very, very quick roundup. Overall, we are asking the question, when did the Sageo cord become a uniformed item? When did the Sageo cord get a specific way of tying it, being tied to the obi belt? And when did people not allow other people, or start getting annoyed at other people, from putting their sword in their belt, their obi, with the storage cord around it? Again, I'm using the word storage cord because there are multiple versions of this knot. So Ronin, Musubi, and all sorts of stuff like that. So, and that's from the Japanese National Sword Association or something. They even use that one. So there you go, guys. Get yourself a copy of that. Get over to Discord and come and have a chat. I've literally just joined. So if you want to have a chat, go over to Discord and come and see. Nick's the big man over there. And Scott is the guy who's his literally right-hand man admin sort of guy. Is what I'm getting in a minute. And Scott's really, really good at Japanese history, and he's got his own channel now called Sengoku Studies. So go and have a look for Sengoku Studies, and hopefully you'll be able to get more info from him there. All right, guys, see you later.